Hello, and welcome back to the Portsmouth Comic Con Podcast. I am your host, Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel, and this is a special episode to help celebrate International Women's Day.
Actually, Luke, I think we've got it covered this week. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm Elena.
And I'm Georgia.
And today you are tuning into a very, very special episode of the Portsmouth Comic Con Podcast in honor of International Women's Day. Yay! So today you've got the honor and the pleasure of hearing me and Georgia live out our dreams of being podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
So we hope you enjoy, and we hope that it is a fun experience for everyone. Now, how are you feeling today, Georgia? Today is February 28th, by the way. It's not yet International Women's Day, but we have started the preparations and the celebrations early on. So how are you feeling today?
Good. I feel a bit nervous. It's the first time I've done this, but I'm excited. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thank you. I'm excited as well. I hope that we don't screw this up.
We might.
I know.
We'll give
It's
it a go.
fine. It's fine. The Geek of Steel will be fine.
We understand. Yeah.
I know that some of you are probably wondering, who are these two girls? And also, where is Luke, aka the Geek of Steel? Or as I like to call him, the Steel of Geek. But don't worry, the regular broadcasting of the Portsmouth Comic Con Podcast will resume, normally, as he always does. So today you've got me and Georgia. So I'm Elena. I'm part of the Portsmouth Comic Con and Portsmouth Guildhall marketing team, and I have been with the team for nearly 2 years now.
Yes, and I'm also part of the marketing team and design team, and I've been at the Guildhall for 4 years. 4 whole years.
I know.
Best time of my life.
For too many. Some would say.
So here's a little rundown of today's episode. We are going to be talking about International Women's Day in general, why we have it, why we need it, and then we are going to go on to talk about some girl power segments. We've asked you, the listeners, what makes you feel empowered to be a woman, so we're going to read out some answers, and then we're going to do some this or that, ins or outs, have a little discussion, have a bit of fun. You can join in as well when you listen, so it's going to be good.
Yeah, some fun time, fun games coming up, but serious faces on. Before we get to the interesting and the fun stuff from this episode, we wanted to get the serious things out of the way. Now, we've seen many, many comments, not just on the Portsmouth Comic Con pages, but in general in the online spaces, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, about why do we even need to have an International Women's Day? Is that not counterproductive? Do we need to be celebrating women only one day a year? Shouldn't we be doing that every day? Yes, we should. But unfortunately, especially within the movie, TV, and comics industry, which we are somewhat a part of by having Portsmouth Comic Con, I think debates like that are still quite regularly occurring about people questioning why it's even necessary to have an International Women's Day.
Yeah.
But I think in order for us to try and answer the question or provide one of many, many answers, I think we wanted to share with you some prior research that we did about these industries, because the numbers are still pointing in the direction of these industries still being quite male-oriented.
And the numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
So
yeah, they're very, unfortunately, still very male-dominated and male-oriented. So Forbes magazine reported that 2/3 of the speaking roles in top-selling movies in 2022 still went to male actors, which means that roughly only 30% of those roles went to women. And then also 85% of the productions made featured more male characters than female characters. That's not looking good. What else did we find, Georgia?
So as for comics, only 26.7% of all DC and Marvel characters are actually female, and only 12%, which is so small, of mainstream superhero comics have female protagonists. Small numbers, small margins.
Yeah, I know. So small.
Not
Almost
great.
unnoticeable. The thing is that data is from 2019. So we couldn't find anything more recent. Changes have happened since 2019. That was almost 5 years ago. A lot of progress has been made. And with sharing statistics like this, we don't mean to diminish the progress that has been made, not just in the comics industry and the movie industry, but just in general. We don't want to deny the fact that a lot of good progress has been made over the last few years. But then at the same time, statistics like these still exist. Numbers like these are still pointing and showing that women are still not receiving the recognition and the equal opportunities that they do deserve.
And the representation as well.
And the representation on screen, in video games, in comics, everywhere. So I think this is probably a very, very simple answer to the question why we need International Women's Day. And it's exactly because of days like these that issues like these that are still so persistent are at least brought to the forefront, and we can still remember that they are happening, and we still need to actively be talking about them, raising awareness, and working towards solving them.
It should be every day.
Yes. Another valid argument, yes, this is something that should be happening every day. However, that doesn't and can't always be the case, unfortunately.
And let's face it, it's not.
Yes.
Not the case.
There are many other big issues with representation and with many other things happening in the world right now. So unfortunately, attention does get shifted. But on International Women's Day, we need to remember that we shouldn't forget these things, and we should always be doing our best to work towards solving them.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I do feel like we need a month, though.
Minimum.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
Give us a month. Whoever comes up with these days and chooses the time frame, give us a month.
Well, we can always make March be International Women's Month.
I think we should.
Since it's the 8th of March when you guys are listening and watching to this podcast. So we can always just say that March is a whole month of celebrating women.
Make it 2. Make it 3.
Exactly.
Oh, that make it 10.
Because we also need to remember that International Women's Day is not just about discussing the negative issues that are still occurring with underrepresentation and inequality, but today is also about celebrating women.
Yes.
Yes, praising women.
It is.
So we asked you guys, the listeners and fans of Portsmouth Comic Con and this podcast, we wanted to hear from you. We wanted to hear some empowering moments that made you think, I'm proud of women, or I'm proud of being a woman myself, or just something that made you experience and feel a little bit of girl power. So before we dive into the responses that you guys gave us, because we've collected a few very, very good ones that we're going to read out in a minute, but what is your recent moment like that? Something that made you feel that way?
So I wouldn't say it was one specific moment, because it's sort of it's every day for me. It's a person. It's my mum, who I'm in contact with every day. So she is my everyday girl power moment. She is a hardworking girly. She has always worked her way up the ladder in every job she's been in. She's basically been a director for God knows how long now. And she's always been in really high roles alongside men, and sometimes it's men and her and just her. And she just bosses it every single day. And I know, obviously, being really close with her, some of the sort of issues she's had to face in her roles as a woman, and being in sort of male orientated industries, that can be really difficult. And when I lived at home and she worked from home, I got like a little insight to what her day would look like. And I used to just sit there and just be like, that's my mum.
That's so
nice. That is my mum. So that leads me on to my best friend as well, who also works in a very male orientated industry. And she is a kitchen designer. But this year she made 1.2 mil for the company. She got into their millionaires club. She went to awards ceremony. She mixed with the likes of Chris Kamara and I think it was Jimmy Carr as well. So I think it was a heavy male award ceremony, and she was there as a female representing us, and she smashes it every day as well. So when I see her and she tells me all these stories, and again, she's come to a lot of where she works with a lot of men, she gets a lot of pushback. They don't take her as seriously, and she never lets it get her down. She pushes through it. She 9 times out of 10 proves them wrong anyway. And I think being surrounded by that with my mum, my friends, and obviously like the likes of you, and we're obviously a girl marketing team.
We are indeed.
So it's just girl power every day for me.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds lovely. Mine is a lot more niche than that. as
general answer.
As everything with me. So I've told you about Haikyuu, or if I haven't,
yes.
You've seen all my Instagram stories. So for those of you, maybe Georgia yourself as well, but for those of you watching and listening that aren't really aware of what Haikyuu is one of the most popular and biggest sports anime franchises in the world, not just in Japan, but in the world. It is a volleyball sports anime. It is something that has been very, very near and dear to my heart recently because I only recently discovered it. But the Haikyuu movie came out only a couple weeks ago in Japan. And I'm getting to this. There is a point to the story. I'm getting there. So the movie made in its opening weekend in the box office, it made over 2 billion Japanese yen, which is 13 million US dollars.
Right.
Just in the 2 days since, and it is one of the 6 movies in Japanese box office, as far as I could research. 6 movies have ever achieved that number. And news articles are saying that the reason for that is because 72% of Japanese fans of Haikyuu are women. So the fandom is 72% women. And women tend to be a lot more dedicated and are apparently more likely to go see a film more than one time in order to support it. Which, just hearing that the force of women within that fandom is what's making this movie achieve historic numbers and a success that hasn't been seen in Japanese box office in such a long time, especially for an anime film as well.
Yeah.
It just gave me a very, very nice sense of pride because women did that. Like, women, me included, love shows and films and characters so much that we just want to do so much to support them and to give them the success that they deserve. And yeah, they did that.
Our passion makes history.
Exactly. Like, they revived Japanese box office with this film. And it's just, it's just so, it gave me a very, very nice, heartwarming feeling. Like,
yeah, I like that one.
I know. Yeah, so cute. Well, this brings us to the stories that you shared with us. We have compiled a list of some of our favorite responses that we heard from you guys. So thank you to everyone who submitted. And we wanted to just read through a few of them because we wanted to share them with you. So the first one, I'm going to start because both me and Georgia selected our favorites. So I selected the first one, which was someone said that their moment of girl power was the first time that they saw the song Defying Gravity live in the Wicked musical. Now, the reason why I selected this response, I have a very close friend of mine who is a very, very big fan of musicals and Wicked. And then we also have Georgia, who is a very, very big fan of musicals. So what do you think of this one, Georgia?
Well, first of all, I freaking love Wicked.
Lovely.
Just the whole storyline, everything. But that one song, when we said we were going to do this podcast and we were thinking of things to talk about, I thought, oh, maybe we could talk about like the one song that you go to. And I thought, oh, what would mine be? It would be Defying Gravity.
Lovely.
Because if I'm ever feeling down, a bit deflated, a bit that's the song that I'll stick on in the car, turn up full volume,
Crank it up,
and I'm like singing my heart out to my best of my ability, thinking I'm Elphaba, thinking I'm Glinda.
Lovely.
And it's this whole storyline is obviously about two women that are fundamentally different but come together and just form this amazing friendship. And then the whole point is that together they're unlimited. And yeah, I just think the whole thing is great. So whoever this was, 10 out of 10 answer.
Lovely.
Nice.
I hope they're listening now. Another response we received was that their favorite moment of girl power, or their first, or so, is when they first cosplayed Captain Marvel in 2017.
Great character.
Yes, great character. And also at Portsmouth Comic Con, we see a lot of young girls and women dressing up and cosplaying as Captain Marvel. So that's always really, really heartwarming to see.
Yeah, we love that.
And I think what that movie achieved as well when it first released was quite monumental as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely.
So another person said, so they said, this is not a specific moment, but I feel like has been a noticeable change in how women carry themselves and their self-worth. I think plus size is more widely accepted, and just generally having a normal, imperfect body is more accepted. She said she feels like girls are less afraid to show their softness and femininity in what they wear, how they decorate their homes, etc. Personally, I love this response. I totally agree with everything she's saying. I think women are less afraid to show their real selves, their unfiltered bodies, their real personalities, their vulnerabilities, and it's seen more now, I think, as a sign of strength, self-worth, self-love, rather than as a weakness, especially in how they decorate their homes and how they decorate themselves, and they do their hair and their makeup and how they just choose to present themselves. It's an empowerment now rather than a weakness, and I think that's so important. And I think for me, I have definitely felt that as well, and I see it a lot on TikTok. I think TikTok has been such a movement. I think it's been so important. I think everyone can I see a lot of influencers just showing sides of themselves that maybe on Instagram they wouldn't, or on Facebook they wouldn't, and it just gives people the opportunity to see things. Like, I'll go on TikTok and I feel normal.
Like validated.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes me think of all these sounds. I don't follow that many influencers on TikTok, but I do get quite a lot of the trending sounds. And when we're talking about all these things that, inherently make us women, the way we decorate our houses and the things we collect and the books we like to read and the music we like to listen to, it just makes me think of that TikTok sound, like, I'm just a girl.
And girl dinner.
Girl dinner. So yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. I think on TikTok there is on the good side of TikTok.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah.
On the good side of TikTok, I think there is a lot of content out there at the moment, not just from influencers, but just from everyday people sharing their experiences, and exactly like I said, things that they bought, like a little mini figurine that they bought, or like stickers that they bought, or a musical that they went to watch that just made them feel very seen and validated. So I think I like that response as well.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that one.
But I like the bit about the body image as well. I think
that is
just normalizing
so
women's bodies.
Yes,
is
because even she said normal imperfect bodies. Well,
exactly.
It's not imperfect, is it? Yeah. It's just not filtered.
Yeah, it's real.
Actually perfect.
It's just real.
Cellulite is perfect. Stretch marks are perfect. A little bit of seeing your pores on your face, having acne, it's all perfect. And it's all normal. It just feels imperfect because it's constantly filtered out.
But as Georgia says, put a filter on this video.
You want me to tell me that?
So everything's perfect. Put a little filter on it.
You can airbrush it.
All right.
We're getting there, okay?
All right. It's the small steps.
It's small, tiny steps.
Exactly. Absolutely. Whatever makes you feel validated and happy in your own skin. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
On a similar note, we got another response saying that there is a women's only gym that is being built. because very, very high amounts of harassment that happen in the gym. I think it's being built in London, and I think it is just nice to see women supporting women and creating a safe space. Lovely. Well, not lovely about the harassment thing. I know gyms. I myself have never set foot in a gym, and I never will.
Fair enough.
But I know that those spaces do tend to breed a lot of harassment, a lot of judgment, a lot of negativity, a lot of just very bad, nasty behavior.
Yeah, it's quite an intimidating place to be sometimes, depending on what gym you go to, and depending on your sort of confidence in that area. But for me, I used to go to the gym all the time, and even if I went to a new gym, I'd feel really intimidated, not because of the women, because of the men.
Yeah.
And if there was a local girls only gym, I would join like that. I'm clicky for the people that can't see me. Like this, in 0.3 seconds, I'd be there because I know I'd feel safe. Yeah. And I think women making safe spaces for women is just the future.
Good. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Lovely. Another favorite response of mine was someone who said that they had been volunteering for a program looking to support underrepresented groups in the games industry. Now, the response was quite short, so we wanted to find out a bit more because obviously gaming does have quite a big presence at Portsmouth Comic Con. We hope that it will have an even bigger presence in the future. And we found some statistics. So listen to this. Apparently in 2022, in the UK, only 33% of the people working in the games industry were women. Really? And then also in 2021, it was reported that nearly 80% of the main characters in video games were men. That is not looking good.
No, it's not.
At all.
It's even, I know that it's low, but when you read it out, it's like, wow, that's really low.
Chilling.
Yeah. And it's not even like a really male thing to do. So many women I know game, and they are not represented.
We see a lot of women in the games sections in at Portsmouth Comic Con as well.
And even the attendees of Comic Con as a whole, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
50% female, 50% male. And you see a lot more, I think, women coming in dressed as the same characters than you do men, because men have more of a
variety to choose from,
whereas women don't. So you see a lot of the same characters being repeated because we don't have as much representation and as much opportunity.
Or maybe it's the representation in mainstream media as well.
Yes.
Because there are characters that do exist, but maybe they're not getting picked up.
Their own movie.
Yes, exactly. They're not getting picked up to be, animated into a mainstream animation or a big movie like Marvel or DC.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, lovely. Good stuff. But this definitely sounds very interesting. A program looking to support underrepresented groups in the games industry. It's lovely that there are such opportunities being presented to people, and hopefully they get bigger and bigger with each year.
Yeah, definitely. So someone else said, speaking of industries, every year we have a management meeting at work where each head of department goes through figures, achievements, and how the business is doing, etc. So in this specific person said we had 8 heads of departments and only 2 are male, and we are quite a female-heavy team in our company. So basically they spent an hour talking about all the things that women have achieved, what profit they've made, all the value they've brought to the company, and she said it just makes her smile because the business is thriving, and mostly because of women.
Lovely.
Love
Preach to that.
And we also had another one leading on from that saying team planning to make improvements. We have a strong female team, and it's so inspiring.
Lovely.
Women should run the world.
Yep.
In my personal opinion. And I think it's nice to hear about companies and businesses that have a good female team, because I don't think it's talked about as much anymore, because I think people think that the gender pay gap is really small, or non-existent now. But leading on from these comments, we did a little bit of research ourselves into gender pay gaps, and I have a few statistics to leave you with.
Lay it on us.
Number one is the median pay gap remains stubbornly wide at 9.4%, the same as in 2017 2018, which means since 2018 it's not changed.
Lovely.
It's not got smaller. It's not got better.
Hasn't gotten bigger though, so at least that.
Well, there is that. Yeah, the small wins in life. When employers were first required to publish information, which was back in 2018, so the gap remains larger in the public sector, which is at 15.1% gap, and this compares with 8% for the private sector, and both are broadly similar to last year's figures. So that's figure number one. In almost half of companies and public bodies, male employees are paid at least 10% more than their female counterparts. So this compares to only 3% of women were paid more than 10% of their male counterparts. And lastly, only 1 in 10 pay female and male employees equivalent wages, where the difference is 0 or less than 0.5% in other direction. So it's still a massive issue. 15.1% in the public sector is massive, which is why obviously I find people like my mum extremely inspiring, because they are breaking the norms.
But we also need to acknowledge the fact that people like your mom are privileged to be able to work for a company that does pay equally. And unfortunately, because of these statistics, we see that there are still many women in the UK. We're not necessarily sure about other countries. We haven't done enough research, obviously, but it's within the UK, there are still quite a lot of women being paid not the same amount as men for the same jobs. So that is still a very prevalent issue.
Yes. Yeah. And I understand, I mean, in the more recent years, it hasn't got smaller, but it has got smaller over time. But there is still a lot of work to do there.
Yeah. But thankfully, it is stories like that, the ones that you read earlier from the respondents to our Instagram story, that we see that hopefully the number of employees who treat women equally and pay women equally and give them the support that they need and deserve, hopefully they're growing. So this maybe gives us some hope that things are on the way to changing for the better.
Yeah, definitely. Giving women jobs where they feel supported and empowered is obviously happening, because we had a good few responses. So
yeah, it's always good to hear, but hopefully there will be more and more of that in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
To finish it off, we have our last little response that we collected, which was, again, connected to a work environment. Someone said that being at work, we are an all-girls team, so sometimes carrying all the heavy boxes with supplies always makes me think, yes, I don't need a man. Lovely.
We don't.
Yeah.
We don't need one.
Who said we do?
No one.
Exactly.
Said no one ever.
So that is the ending of that segment. Thank you to everybody who submitted responses.
Yes, and all the ones that we missed, we did read, and they were all really lovely to read. And together, wasn't it? It was nice.
We'll let the Steel of Geek, Luke, know that segments like this are quite nice, like gathering responses and including you guys, the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah, we love to hear from you. So a lot of our Comic Con is about community. Yeah. So yeah, we love to hear from you.
Feedback.
Yeah, definitely.
Just positive.
Yeah. Keep sending us messages. We'll have a chat.
Yes, absolutely. So now it's time for the fun section of this podcast, which is the games. Oh, yes. So it's not really gonna be International Women's Day related necessarily.
Well,
however,
I haven't told Elena what her this or that's are, because
so I'm playing this or that. I didn't create any for Georgia, so unfortunately it's gonna be
rude.
I know, this or that for me, but then she can say her response as well. And then we have a segment that I prepared, which is in or out. So do play along with us at home, and yeah, let's go.
Okay, so it's quick fire.
Okay.
Don't think. Some of these are tailored specifically to you.
Lovely.
And if you're listening and you know Elena, well,
which scary. How do you know me?
So, number one.
This is this or that for people listening. So please do play along.
Join along. Jujutsu Kaisen or Good Omens?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, okay.
Controversial! But I love Good Omens. Love it. Crowley, Aziraphale.
I thought that was going to be hard for you because of David Tennant and Gojo.
Gojo.
Every day?
Gojo.
Oh, okay.
He is my blue-eyed king.
So, who would you rather go into business with, Scarlett Johansson or Angelina Jolie?
Angelina Jolie. 100%.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Who would you rather be, Black Widow or Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch.
Me too. Weird Barbie or President Barbie?
President Barbie.
Weird Barbie.
They're
so
both cool, but
yeah. There's not a not cool Barbie. But
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Weird Barbie.
Apart from
cracks me
the
up.
pregnant Barbie, she was a bit strange. But I think that was on purpose.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that was the whole point. Yeah, I did like that bit.
I did read a little bit about that doll, but not too much.
No.
Apparently, that was like a miscontinued Barbie doll.
I think it was.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Marge, something like that.
Madge, yeah.
Anyway.
Hazbin Hotel or Our Flag Means Death?
Our Flag Means Death. I don't know. I love Hazbin Hotel.
Can't change it.
Okay, no. Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah, okay.
If it was Hell of a Boss or Our Flag Means Death, Hell of a Boss.
Okay.
Because that's from the same universe as Hazbin Hotel.
Okay. Yeah. I'm unaware of this. I haven't
seen
it.
No, you know.
Don't judge me.
All your sources are my stories on Instagram.
It's literally the only reason I know about it is because of you and Joanne.
I'm glad.
Who would you rather be besties with, Margot Robbie or Florence Pugh?
Margot Robbie, I think.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Heroes or villains?
Villains.
Yes.
They have a more interesting and layered, multifaceted backstory.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah, me too. Poison Ivy or Harley Quinn?
Harley Quinn.
Me too. Yeah. Ability to control water or fire?
Fire.
Water? If you can control water, you can also control fire.
You can extinguish fire, but that's about it.
Yeah. But what was it, like 80% of the world is water? Imagine being able to control 80% of the world.
Imagine being able to set the other 20 on fire.
Well, I'm going to just cancel you out of my water control.
All right.
So, yeah, try me. Gamora or Wasp's outfit?
Gamora. I like Gamora.
Yeah, I prefer Wasp's outfit, though. She's
well, Wasp's outfit is a suit.
Well, suit, yeah.
And Gamora's is just a battle outfit.
Day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I do love Gamora more, so.
That is the end of your quick fire round.
Lovely.
Which one was your hardest? The Hazbin Hotel one?
No, Jujutsu Kaisen and Good Omens, because they are both very near and dear to my heart.
She has one of each on her desk.
Yes. Well, one is here. There he is. Gojo. We love it. Let's see it. Thank you. Thank you that you tuned them to me.
Yeah.
Love it. We're going to move on to the next game that I prepared, which is in or out. So do we love that or do we hate that? And we're going to do a little commentary after each one. So I prepared all of these based on somewhat recent pop culture events. So the first one. TikTokers and social media influencers interviewing celebrities on red carpets and press junkets.
Okay.
In or out? Do we love it or do we hate it?
A 50-50 situation for me.
Okay.
There are certain influencers that I see interviewing celebrities and it just doesn't look right. Doesn't seem right. The TikTokers look uncomfortable. The celebrities look uncomfortable. They are just there for the fact that they have a lot of followers on TikTok. They're not there because they're trained in that. They're interested in that. They even know anything about that. And that's when it makes me cringe. And I'm like, oh, that's when I would say out. But the people that have got big from TikTok in that area or that are really passionate about that movie or that franchise doing the interviews totally makes sense.
I think for me, yeah, I would agree. It's 50-50. But to me, it's all about the preparation. Because showing unprepared is one, very unprofessional.
Yes.
If you're going to be stood in front of the main actor from a movie that's coming out in a week and you don't know what to ask this actor, or you don't ask them anything related to the film, instead you're asking them about their personal lives or something like that. I think that is definitely out. However, I do follow quite a lot of TikTokers and somewhat like social media influencers that are creating content related to the movie industry, related to movies, TV shows, like reviews and recaps, etc. So I think with them, it is in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they do, and it's all about charisma as well. Having that type of behavior and mannerisms around the celebrity to make them feel at ease and comfortable, and then yourself as well. So I have seen a few interviews that really flowed very nicely, and you could see both people in the interview were having a really, really enjoyable time. But then I agree, there have been many instances.
Of the opposite. I've actually seen one, I don't know who he was, but he was obviously an influencer. And I think it was Billie Eilish ran away from him. I was like, not you.
Oh, is he the singing guy?
I think so.
I don't know about him. I think,
don't know if he's serious or not.
It's not. I don't think so.
No.
I think it's satire because he can't sing, so he just goes up to all of them singing. But yeah, their faces are.
It makes them feel so uncomfortable, and I know they're famous, but that's an embarrassing thing to do to someone, and just film them.
I guess it's less embarrassing than going to a press junket and asking them about who they're dating.
Yes, that's so inappropriate.
Because I think the singing thing is probably that guy's brand. It's his whole shtick. I don't know how he finds all of these celebrities.
I know.
I saw he did one with Josh Hutcherson.
I saw that.
You saw him just on the street.
In the street. I'm like, where are you having dinner?
And he just started singing to him. And Josh just there on the side like, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think they're just too nice to say.
So professional in that situation as well. Because,
props to him.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I could have held myself that way.
No, probably not. But I think especially in the situation of a press junket or a red carpet interview, it's also quite disheartening to see exactly like what you mentioned, that some people who don't create any type of content related to movies and, you know, reviews, TV shows, commentaries, especially. Yeah, nothing related to that. They get invited to these press junkets because of the following that they have amounted and the platform that they've built them for themselves. And then at the same time, there's people that are literally studying to get a university degree connected to journalism. They're trying to do apprenticeships and internships and everything. And they would love to have that opportunity, but that opportunity is not given to them, and it is instead given to someone who just happens to have a very, very big social media following. So I do fear that is quite unfair in some situations.
Yeah, definitely.
So I wish there was a way that they could probably find a balance, still inviting social media influencers and TikTokers to these events, but then also giving an opportunity.
This is no disrespect to the content that they make on TikTok, because most of these TikTokers that I see doing the interview stuff, I love them, love their TikTok accounts. But it's putting them in a situation.
Maybe interviewing is just not for them.
Yeah, that's all it is.
It's not for everyone.
They're funny, they're interesting. I like all their videos. Then you put them in a space that isn't for them, and they're not trained in, they don't know anything about, never done before. That has absolutely nothing to do with the content that they make on TikTok. That's when I think it crosses the line too much. As much as I love them, I'm like, oh, not there though.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe another.
But no disrespect to them. It's just the situation. Yeah.
Exactly. Very good. The next one, live action remakes of animations. In or out?
Oh,
what do we think?
Because I'm a Disney gal. Love Disney. And everything is being remade.
Yep. Live action.
Some well, some not well. For the well ones, totally in. For the not well ones, out. Could not be any further out.
Okay. For me, I think that this question arose from everything that's currently happening with, if you guys have been following, Georgia, I'm not sure if you have, but
Airbender.
Yes. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So my boyfriend's mum is watching it. So when it's on in the house, I will sit and watch a bit of it. But I've never seen the original, so I can't compare.
Yeah, the original is a very, very good piece of media.
Yeah.
Very, very highly acclaimed, very famous as well. So, yeah.
So what do you think? Have you seen the remake?
No.
No.
Will I? No.
No.
So I think that answers your question.
For you.
Yeah. Up to interpretation, but I shall not be watching it. I think for me, this would be out.
Okay.
Entirely. I know you say that there are some that end up being successful live action. So
for me, Little Mermaid, 10 out of 10. Glad they remade it.
Yes, that was good for everything that it stood for and did.
Yeah.
So yes.
So
but was it necessary?
Well, it wasn't. Depends. Necessary for the story? No.
Necessary for the representation? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Totally agree.
But had it not been for that representation, would it have been necessary?
I don't know, because I love. Obviously, you watch the original, the cartoon, and there's all the fish and the undersea world, but it's so much more magical when they bring it to life. So you're watching it, especially in the cinema with a massive screen, and that's all you can see. You almost feel like you're in that world. It feels more relatable when they're real people or real fish or real crabs or whatever it is. Crabs. They're real crabs. I can relate to that crab.
Lovely.
But do you know what I mean? Like, it's seeing the original didn't make me go, oh my god, wow. But seeing the remake, especially with the Under the Sea song and the whole scene of that, I was a draw drop moment. I was like, oh my god, that's cool. They've brought all that to life.
Especially for The Little Mermaid, I think what I do want to mention is for the kids that was their first encounter of The Little Mermaid. Very important.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of torn between two places. Not really torn, because at the bottom of the line, I do think that these studios need to look into finding new original ideas to produce and to make, rather than creating live action adaptations of pieces of media that most of the times are already great the way that they are in their original animated version. If it was a piece of problematic media that had issues with representation or the language or the lessons that it teaches the viewers, by all means, you can remake it and just justify, bring justice to the things that were wrong the first time around. But
they're just remaking everything.
Yeah.
Just for the sake
of I read about, and this kind of brings me in to the next in or out, but they're making a Moana live action, I believe.
Yeah, so I've seen that, but I don't know if it's true, because I've also seen a trailer, which is very fake.
Oh, yeah.
With Zendaya, I think, which she would make a great Moana, but it's not real.
Yeah, no.
So
I think you fell victim to the fake trailers of YouTube.
And as soon as I saw Zendaya, I was like, no. I don't know. But I mean, The Rock as Maui in real life, I would enjoy that. And again, with the water and the magical side, I think seeing it real, not real, but you know what I mean,
live action.
Real, it is a certain type of magic that you don't get to see in a cartoon, because everything that was made a long time ago is very flat, whereas everything that's
Moana wasn't even made that
well
far
no not Moana
ago.
Sorry, but like, I don't know, like the Cinderellas and stuff like that, it's obviously very flat, and when you bring them to life, especially because Cinderella is a human, so when you put her in a human body and someone you've seen in other films and really like or can relate to, it's a different kind of magic. But I do think they take it way too far and they should remake everything.
Did you watch the Cinderella live action when it came out?
Not when it came out. I've watched a bit of it more recently, but I do love Lily James, so that made it for me.
Lovely.
But I can't really answer that one. In for some, out for some. In, but don't do it to everything. You know? and yours is just
I
out.
think I'll probably be leaning more towards out.
Yeah, that's
simply
fair.
because
I see why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just try and put the money into sourcing and funding an original new idea, because there are so many creatives in the film industry that are struggling to get their ideas picked up because these big studios are just relying on reproducing and repurposing and recycling the same storylines.
Yeah.
And this brings me into the next in or out, which is never ending sequels. In or out. And we're talking about Toy Story 67.
Oh, no, don't.
We're talking about Moana 2.
Okay.
We're talking about what else has been announced recently, especially from Disney. All of these endless cycles of
I think there's
sequel
a Frozen
after.
3.
Oh, there we go. Frozen 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. But you cannot disrespect Toy Story. First of all.
Okay. For me, it will be out. And that ties in with the point I made previously.
For the first one, yeah.
Original ideas.
Come up with another idea.
Yeah.
Stop redoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say out. I don't want to speak a bad word about my good old friend Woody and Buzz.
All right.
But I do think they just need to leave it there. Quit while you're ahead. You know? Because
they're
they
very
are
ahead.
iconic.
They are very
ahead.
How many have we had so far from Toy Story? 4. There you go.
But I think if they keep pushing it, it makes the first probably 3 that are really good worse, because it just filters them out. And actually, they're really iconic. Quit while you're ahead.
Okay. So out.
So out, is my answer.
Okay, we agree on this one. Good. Nice.
There's not many things we agree on. Well, 50-50 maybe.
40-60.
70-30.
Yeah, let's make it 20-80 and call it a day. And then the last one, and this is very, very recent and topical. As we all know, the Oscars are happening on March 10th, I think. Sunday, is it?
Something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So March 10th.
Yeah.
And yesterday I read that apparently, take this with a grain of salt, but Ryan Gosling may be performing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars, which was nominated for Best Song from a Movie.
Yes.
For the Grammys, along with...
Did he win?
No.
Supporting role?
What was the name of the Billie Eilish song? What Was I Made For?
What Was I Made For, yeah.
Yeah. So that won the Grammy. And I'm pretty sure they're also nominated for the Oscars, in the Oscars category for Best Song from movie or from the movie soundtrack.
Right.
So I'm not really sure on the name of the category. So Ryan Gosling performing I'm Just Ken at the Oscars. In or out? What are we thinking?
I would say, and I think actually Ryan Gosling would agree, out. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
The movie, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, 12 out of 10. But that just doesn't need to happen.
I feel like a lot of people miss the point of the song I'm Just Ken.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Because the song I'm Just Ken receiving a lot, I'm not sure if it's necessarily more media coverage and numbers and streams. I'm not entirely sure. But receiving such a high amount of buzz in real life around it in comparison to What Was I Made For, which was literally the song created to embody
that made us both
girlhood.
Yeah.
Yes. It just rubs me the wrong way because I can't help but think, did you watch the movie? And did you get what the movie was trying to say to you?
Yeah.
Because in real life, this occurrence happening,
it's ironic. To say the least.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, he was nominated for Best Supporting Role, wasn't he?
Yes.
And Margot Robbie was not nominated for anything.
She was not.
Neither was Greta Gerwig.
For director, no.
Yes.
However, Barbie did get a nomination for Best Picture.
Best Picture, yeah. But not as
and
her
some others.
role.
Not Margot Robbie.
No. So, I mean, I love Ryan Gosling, but I think the focus of that movie was too much on him when it was not about that. But I mean, just proves the whole point of the movie, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Period.
Patriarchal world and all that. Unfortunately.
And horses.
Yeah. And patriarchy apparently is not about horses, so he lost interest anyway.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Oscars, for me, if it wasn't clear already, him performing, I'm just
I totally agree.
Out.
Yeah.
I think. And I think you are right. I think he would probably agree as well. I think he is very shocked by how out of proportion the success of that song has turned out in real life. I think.
Seeing his face at the Oscars when the host was making...
Oh, that wasn't at the Oscars.
What was that on the Oscars?
I think it was at the Critics' Choice Awards or something like that.
Something. But his face said it all.
Yeah.
So I think he would probably agree. No disrespect to you, Ryan Gosling, if you're listening, because you probably are.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Gosling is definitely listening.
Ryan Gosling listens to our podcast all the time.
And to the
shout out
Geek of Steel.
Yes.
Lovely. So speaking of the Oscars, and to kind of wrap it all up, who is your favorite from Best Picture to win? Who are you hoping secretly that secretly or not so secretly that wins Best Picture? Obviously,
Barbie, obviously.
Okay.
Easy.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Lovely.
End of conversation.
All right.
What's yours?
I did enjoy Barbie. Absolutely. I think it was really, really monumental and influential. However, my favorite would be, and the one that I'm hoping to win, but obviously at the same time I am somewhat aware that that's very, very likely not going to happen, Past Lives. Another very, very human story. Not necessarily just woman-centered, but it was more human relationship-centered. It was a beautiful, beautiful story. I was lucky enough to be able to catch it at the cinema because it got somewhat of a very limited release in the UK. And Greta Lee, another person who was unfortunately snubbed, as they like to say, from an Oscar nomination for main female actress. She was brilliant in the movie, and it was a very, very beautiful, touching story, very human, very raw. So, of course, a part of me always hopes that that would win. However,
you never know.
Yeah, who knows?
It's now on Netflix as well, so it's more likely to be seen as well. So
I will definitely be rewatching it. Yes, many, many
I will
times.
be watching it because it's obviously come highly recommended by you.
It is very lovely story.
Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, I think that brings us to the end of this special International Women's Day episode. Yes, it was very nice.
The Seal of Geek will have us back.
Yes.
March the 8th, 25.
Yes. Oh,
see this
what? So like once a year. Well, do let us know, and do let the Geek of Steel know as well if you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed,
say nothing.
Yeah, if you didn't, then just that's okay. Yeah. Yes, please do let us know if you enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed the change of host, the change of the environment, the change of topics. If you enjoyed that, if you liked it, if you want to hear more from us. Or if there are any suggestions that you have towards Luke and the future episodes of the Portsmouth Comic Con Podcast. So do please let us know.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
And spending the last however many minutes this episode turned out to be with us. We hope you enjoyed our discussions and our debates and our little games. We hope you played along. And we hope you have a lovely March 8th, or you are having a lovely March 8th when you're listening to this, and a whole month of March to celebrate and praise women as you should.
Yeah. Go hug your mums, your girlfriends, your sisters, your friends, everyone.
Lovely.
And also don't forget There are still tickets available for Portsmouth Comic Con.
Portsmouth
Say it.
Comic Con.
Portsmouth
She's so
Comic Con.
excited.
Yeah.
There's 2 months left. When you guys are listening to this episode,
Yeah.
there will be pretty much 2 months left until Portsmouth Comic Con 2024. It's happening on May 11th and 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Mark your calendars if you haven't already.
Go get your tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you don't already, obviously follow us on our socials. It's Portsmouth Comic Con is the handle. We've got Facebook, we've got TikTok, and we've got Instagram and Twitter. So give us a follow, buy tickets. We'll be at Portsmouth Comic Con, so if you're a fan now.
Oh my God, we can do a live podcast. If this blows up and goes viral,
we will do our own meet and greet. Free autographs for everyone.
Oh, lovely.
So
Live out.
Gosling,
Live out.
I know you're listening. Come along.
Live out our Hannah Montana dreams. Like signing our headshot photos and everything. Imagine that.
The dream of my life.
But yes, please leave a comment down below
Yeah.
to let us know if you enjoyed this episode and just to share some.
And if you did do the this or that, let us know your this or that answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you choose in those very, very hard questions that Georgia had prepared?
Evil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.